right now from today's TMJ4.
This is Live at 10.
Now at 10, agents bust a child pornography ring. The prime suspect is a West Allis school bus driver. William Casper has been driving kids for more than 20 years.
Tonight, the West Allis School District is trying to figure out if any of its students are victims.
Katie Crowther is live in West Allis with new information. Katie.
Carol and Mike, today's TMJ4 was the first to break this story and inform the West Allis, West Milwaukee School District that William Casper, one of its longtime bus drivers, was charged with having child pornography. And we found out that many of the children he's been driving every day have special needs. 53-year-old William Casper told authorities he never intentionally downloaded inappropriate photos and videos of children. And Casper denied knowing most search terms pertaining to child porn. But investigators say they found X-rated images saved on his computer when they raided his West Allis home.
There is nothing in those reports to indicate that any of our children have been or ever were harmed by this individual.
The West Allis, West Milwaukee School District is now doing its own investigation and reaching out to parents.
We would encourage parents to talk with their children. And if they seem that they had any incidences or anything that made them feel uncomfortable with this individual, to let either authorities or the school district administration know.
Casper's contact with children in West Allis goes back for more than 20 years. He's been driving young kids and those with special needs since 1991. The district contracts its drivers through the bus company First Student Inc. I tried to get some answers from the manager of the bus company, but he was not willing to come out of his office to meet with me. Instead, he had someone hand me this Post-it note with the number for the company's headquarters in Cincinnati. I called but have not heard back. Some of the bus drivers on site told me they're in shock. Everyone left wondering what to do from here. And again, the investigation does not indicate that any children were actually targeted by William Casper. The district has been in close contact with the bus company. Casper is out on bond, and from what we can tell, he does not have any criminal record. He also, according to his criminal complaint, strongly denies having any knowledge that there was child pornography on his computer. Reporting live in West Allis, Katie Crowther, today's TMJ4.
Katie, thank you for that update.
A coach bus carrying members of the Kansas City Chiefs football team was involved in an accident in Outagamie County this evening. The team was on the way to their hotel ahead of tomorrow night's Packers game. They did have a police escort, but a car hit them at an intersection. No one on the bus was hurt, but a child in the car had minor cuts. Breaking news from Milwaukee's west side. A 26-year-old man was shot to death during a fight this evening. This is a live look at the scene at 37th and Roberts. Police say there are several suspects, but they have not made any arrests.
A 9-year-old girl accidentally killed her instructor at a gun range in Arizona. That has sparked outrage and concern all over the country. Shannon Sims went to a gun range in West Allis where an instructor told her this could have been prevented. Shannon.
Carol, children training on firearms, while it might be surprising to some, but not to those that train people with firearms every day. One instructor says it has nothing to do with the age and everything to do with the instruction. It's an image that has stunned many. A 9-year-old being instructed to fire an Uzi at a gun range in Arizona.
All right, go ahead and give me one shot.
Her next attempt with the submachine gun would be fatal as she loses control, shooting and killing her instructor.
From seeing it on video, I could see all the mistakes that happened. Firearms have a tendency to move up and to the left. This area here is the most unsafe area for an instructor to stand.
Eric Grabowski, a manager at the shooter shop, says a few simple steps would have prevented this deadly accident.
The instructor should have stood to the back and to the right. He should have had some type of control on that firearm. I would have also instructed short, controlled bursts. My hand would have been up here.
A little hesitant even after getting instruction,
Go ahead and put your finger on the trigger.
Grabowski walked me through firing an Uzi similar to the one used by the child.
See, they're ready.
Meanwhile, Grabowski's heart goes out to both the child and the instructor's family.
It's your job as an instructor to make sure that that area is safe. You take your own safety out of the equation. It has nothing to do with a 9-year-old with a submachine gun.
Here in Wisconsin, 12-year-old children can hunt with a gun, but there is no state law restricting how old a child must be to receive gun training. Meanwhile, in Arizona, authorities say no charges will be filed against the child, her parents, or the gun range. Mike and Carol.
Such a sad story. Thank you very much, Shannon.
A Waukesha County couple can't seem to get a grip on their guns. 76-year-old Gerald Hitchler is accused of leaving his loaded gun in a bathroom at the Egg Harbor Fun Park in Door County. And earlier this year, his wife left her loaded gun in a bathroom at Elmbrook Church.
New at 10, 2 mail carriers were molested in Milwaukee. The first incident happened at 78th and Villard, the second at 77th and Cortland, a few blocks away. In both cases, the mail carriers were groped. So far, no one is in custody. A person of interest in Dodge County homicide may be from Oshkosh. 43-year-old Michael Solar was found dead in his apartment Sunday. Police are looking for this woman. She was the last person to be seen with Solar. Police say they met online.
It was a crime that shocked people on Milwaukee's east side. A cook murdered inside a George Webb. Today, his killer was sentenced to more than 40 years in prison. Tom Murray is live on the east side with more on this story. Tom?
Yeah, Mike, it was the prosecutor that described this as a crime that shocked the city, an unprovoked shooting in the George Webb behind me. The owner of the restaurant tells me tonight business has never been the same and that this crime continues to haunt his employees. At trial, DeLorean Bryson blamed his drunkenness for what happened that night in December and the people he was with. But now Bryson is the one sentenced to 43 years in prison.
Mr. Evans ended up being shot in that restaurant in front of the other employees and in front of 4 college students for no reason.
Bryson killed 21-year-old Reginald Reggie Evans. Others in that restaurant describe Evans as the peacemaker, trying to convince the belligerent Bryson to stop harassing customers and leave. Instead, Bryson fired a shot that killed the cook.
I never intended to kill that guy.
In his apology, Bryson spoke about his 5 children.
I'm sorry that my children have to go through the situation for what I've done.
And the response to that, unfortunately, is you can't ask me to give you any credit for being a father unless you're acting like a father.
The owner of the restaurant tells me business just hasn't been the same since his employee died just trying to earn a living.
He was a worker, and work is the important word. He was a guy that was doing the right thing, whereas the killer was doing the exact opposite.
It is a 43-year prison sentence for DeLorean Bryson. If he serves that full term, he will be incarcerated beyond his 70th birthday. Live tonight on Milwaukee's east side, Tom Murray, today's TMJ4.
Yeah, a senseless crime. Thanks, Tom.
President Obama will be in Milwaukee on Monday. Sources say he'll attend Labor Fest on the Summerfest grounds. The president also attended Labor Fest back in 2012.
Red, white, and blue election news now, and the governor's race in Wisconsin is the closest in the entire country. A new Marquette Law School poll is out, and boy is it close. Among registered voters, Governor Walker leads Mary Burke 47.5% to 44%. But among likely voters, Burke leads Walker 48.5% to 46.5%. Governor Walker says he's not surprised by the close race.
I've said for about a year now that I thought that statistically this would be about as close as it could be. That's bore out again with this poll. We believe that the grassroots are going to play a big difference in the election, just like it did in 2010 and again in 2012.
Mary Burke says her campaign is right where it needs to be.
We have about 10 weeks to go, and I'm going to continue to press hard, make sure that the people of Wisconsin get to know me, the values I have, and my plans for how I'm going to lead Wisconsin forward.
In the Attorney General's race, Democrat Susan Happ leads Republican Brad Schimmel 42% to 32% with a lot of undecideds. And typically, campaigning heats up right after Labor Day and Election Day, 10 weeks from yesterday.
The Marquette poll also shows growing support for a casino in Kenosha. 49% of the people back a new casino, while 35% oppose it. Governor Walker had strong words for those pressuring him to make a decision.
The federal government took 9 years, so for those critics that are criticizing our time, I don't remember any of them talking about Barack Obama and the federal government, so I think it's pretty clear it's politics.
The Potawatomi tribe is upset over a possible casino in Kenosha. They're withholding a $25 million check from the state.
Cardinal Timothy Dolan was back in town this week. He was here as Congressman Jim Sensenbrenner converted to Catholicism. He had previously identified himself as an Anglican Catholic. The Journal-Sentinel reports it happened at St. Francis de Sales Seminary. Archbishop Jerome Lestecki was also on hand.
New at 10, big improvements on the way for the South Shore Beach. Miller Coors announced a $500,000 donation today. That money will help clean up the beach and improve water quality.
South Shore Beach is at the cusp of a transformation. As you know, it's been ranked as the top 10 worst beaches in America. And as you can imagine, this designation, we're not proud of it, but to many of our partners, we are committed to change that.
The project is expected to take 5 years, but progress and help on the way.
It's a good sign.
Very nice. Cool again tonight, and now we do expect some rain.
Brian Goddard is here with a first look at the forecast. Brian?
Very refreshing this afternoon. Low humidity, a lot of sunshine, high temperatures today, basically in the lower 70s, 69 degrees in Sheboygan. It was 73 here in Milwaukee, and the mid to upper 70s inland, almost 80 in Janesville. Now, because of the dry air, the air has cooled down pretty quickly. 64 here, but already some upper 50s in the inland areas. 60 by morning, 56 in the inland areas by 7 a.m. for the kids at the bus stop. Some kids are already back to school, and by noon, 68 and mostly cloudy. Those clouds will bring rain showers by late in the afternoon tomorrow, and definitely by this time tomorrow. And there could be some heavy rain totals. We'll show you that coming up, Mike and Carol.
Okay, we'll see you shortly, Brian.
Aaron Rodgers dashing in denim.
Coming up, his fashion statement in Green Bay.
Plus, the Shorewood journalist who died in search of the truth.
And next, a Texas takedown caught on a police body camera.
Police body cameras capture an intense takedown in Texas. An officer told a man to put his hands behind his back, but he swung at the officer instead. The police chief says this is exactly why they bought cameras for their officers.
It's protection, it's transparency. Our officers know that when they step out of the vehicle, everything they're doing and saying is being documented.
The police chief released this video because he wanted other cities to see the benefits of body cameras. Milwaukee is testing them.
Decades before James Foley, another journalist with local ties died trying to get the real story on the battlefield.
Courtney Garish has her amazing story.
Wisconsin has a history of journalists willing to risk their lives in search of a story.
This was from National Geographic.
Martin Hintz is a big fan of Dickie Chappelle.
This is one of her photos, a napalm strike. It's just an amazing photo.
As a member of the Milwaukee Press Club.
And here she is out in the field, as you can see. Glasses, her pearl earrings.
He has researched her life and work.
Dickie wrote her own autobiography called What's a Woman Doing Here? And that was quite a good question.
She wasn't just a journalist, she was a trailblazer.
The woman reporter, especially in a combat zone, was just totally unheard of.
Chappelle photographed the Marines in World War II, first training in Panama, then the landings on Iwo Jima and Okinawa.
She was one of them, in the sense of she might have been a woman, but she would dig her own foxhole. She'd get down in the mud with them.
Covering the Reconstruction in Europe, she was imprisoned by the Soviets. Once released, she went to Algeria, then Cuba.
Here's Fidel and Raul Castro.
Wherever there was conflict, Chappelle was there with her camera.
The downtrodden, the injured, the hurt, the soldier on the front line, troops, men and women. And she had a real compassionate heart, and I think her photographs show that.
As a journalist, Chappelle traveled the world. As a kid, she traveled the streets of Shorewood. This was her route to school, and every day Chappelle would stop and salute the flag at this police station.
Karin de Hartog is fascinated with Chappelle's life.
That's her senior graduation picture.
A history buff, she thinks her story should not be forgotten.
Certainly not a life that I would aspire to at all, but I admire somebody else that had that much guts.
Guts that would take her from working on the Shorewood High School paper all the way around the world, eventually to Vietnam, where at the age of 45 she became the first female journalist killed in combat. This picture was taken moments after a mine exploded. As the priest administered last rites, her last words, "I knew it would come to this."
She just seemed to be quite fearless, and it was just just a very unique person.
For DeHartog, Chappelle's life, even though cut short, was lived the right way.
Follow your dreams, be willing to take risks, but also realize the price of those risks.
Next year marks the 50th anniversary of Chappelle's death. The Milwaukee Press Club will induct her into its Hall of Fame this October. Courtney Garish, today's TMJ4.
Thank you, Courtney. Finding the truth takes courage.
Well, you know, we see NBC's Richard Engel in war zones all around the world. Dickie Chappelle, really a trailblazer.
Fascinating. Apple picking season right around the corner.
This year's harvest is expected to be a good one, and the weather has helped. Lots of rain and not too much heat. And that seems to be the story for the next couple of days, Brian.
Finally, something the weather helped.
Yes.
We've been getting a lot of grief this summer. At least the apples are happy. And the apple lovers will be loving it this fall. Last year, remember, a lot of the up north places didn't have many, or 2 years ago, because of the early warm weather, and then the frost killed a lot of those buds on those trees. So good thing to hear that the apples will be ready to go for the picking in just a couple of weeks. Tomorrow, same temperatures, lower 70s, humidity still low, but the clouds will be increasing, so not a carbon copy of today. We'll see those showers, which are already back into the plain states, moving into western Wisconsin during the early part of the day. By late afternoon, could see a few showers in the radar here locally, and then by evening and overnight, definitely some rain showers around. And this is the 3-day forecast. Check this out right here in parts of central and northern Wisconsin, including, I'd say, Stevens Point, Green Bay, 2, 3, maybe 4 inches of rain between tomorrow night and Saturday afternoon. We could pick up about 1 to 2 inches of rain. Now, like we say in the wintertime, where the track of that storm system means the difference between what kind of snowfall you get also is that way for rain totals. If this dives to the south, we could be seeing more heavy rain as well. But it looks like a good soaking rain for the next couple of days for most of the state of Wisconsin. Temperatures right now already dropping into the upper 50s in some parts. West Bend, Port, Waukesha, in the upper 50s. 64 here in Milwaukee, also in Beaver Dam. The air is dry. Dew points have been dropping. They're in the mid-50s right now in Milwaukee. 48 in Rhinelander. They could get into the upper 40s for low temperatures tonight, and still holding on to the lower 60s out west. The dew points will start to increase tomorrow night, and it will get steamy around here by Thursday night and into Friday. But most of tomorrow is comfortable. Temperatures in the lower 70s, but then here comes that warm front. It stays warm tomorrow night in the 60s. Rain showers likely, especially as you get later in the evening, overnight, and into Friday as well. And it will be humid with temperatures in the lower 80s as well. But with the dry air, temperatures tonight dropping back into the mid to upper 50s. 60 for Milwaukee, 61 in Kenosha, light wind, and just a couple clouds. For tomorrow, the clouds increase throughout the day. We'll stay in the upper 60s to lower 70s like we did today, but we're not going to have that nice sun. We'll have an easterly wind at around 5 to 10, and then as the afternoon wears on, some scattered showers start popping up on radar, and they become more widespread as we get into the evening and overnight. It's because of this storm system. It'll keep us warmer and becoming more humid tomorrow night. Rain likely, heavy at times, and then throughout the day on Friday, and even the first part of Saturday looks to be rainy as well before things quiet down just a bit for Sunday. If you're heading up to the Green Bay Packer game tomorrow, bring your pop-up tents for tailgating, as there'll just be a few scattered showers in 70, but bring the rain gear for the game. Better chance of rain as the game wears on. A temperature of 64. 60 tonight, comfortable degrees outside. 71 tomorrow, increasing clouds and a few late-day storms. The better chance evening and overnight. Humid and 83 on Friday with storms likely. 78 and more storms on Saturday. A little break on Sunday and Labor Day. Looks to be 81, humid, and more rain. So build the ark. Mow the grass between the downpours. It's getting long out there.
Small ark.
A small ark.
Hey, weather kid time.
Oh, that's right. See, I always forget this.
John did too last night.
7-year-old Colin, shorts, but also has an umbrella. Temperatures near 60 in the morning. So you got to remind me. Just kick me.
Look at that big smile.
Oh, Carol.
Still to come, new bike lanes making Milwaukee safer.
Stick around.
Kids. On the eve of the final preseason game against the Chiefs, one big play could punch your ticket to a roster spot. Just ask Desmond Howard and Ted Thompson. The Packers GM shared a great story about the road to Super Bowl 31.
Several years ago, I think it was in 1996, in fact I know it was, Desmond Howard wasn't going to make our team. And then so he hadn't had very good games. I think he'd been hurt in a couple of preseason games and didn't play very well at receiver in the other one. And Mike and Ron decided, well, we'll just put him out there and let him return the whole game and see how he does. I think he returned couple for touchdowns and wound up having that, especially there at the end of the season, that run that's maybe the finest piece of football returning that I've ever seen.
Could happen again tomorrow night. Call them the Denim Duo at the Packers kickoff luncheon. Aaron Rodgers and Matt Flynn break out the Western wear. Oh yeah, Super Bowl 49 is in Phoenix, Arizona. Huh? Brewers started play in San Diego knowing the Cardinals had already lost today. Pitchers rule the night. Giovanni Gallardo 6 scoreless innings, but Odorasmir Despaigne matches him with 6 shutout innings and 8 strikeouts. Check out this incredible defensive play at short from Elian Herrera. Still throws accurately to get the out. Then Herrera huge just moments ago. RBI double to score Lyle Overbay barely. It's 2-zip Brewers in the 7th. And in a recent press release, Matt Kenseth is described as a future Hall of Famer, something that the former NASCAR champ is not totally comfortable with.
I have not thought about it, and that just goes back to you and I talking about if I read the stuff written about myself, and if I would have read that, I would have made him take that out of my press release. A lot of really great things have obviously happened in my career, and I've been very, very blessed to drive a lot of different cars for a lot of great owners, had a lot of different really good people work on my cars through the years to get me where I'm at. But I still feel like there's a lot of my career in front of me. There's certainly a lot of things that I want to accomplish that we haven't been able to accomplish yet. And you know, I'm looking forward to you know, the challenge of going out there and trying to race for more wins and race for more championships.
He's won just about everything, so Hall of Fame could be a possibility someday. Back after this.
Powerball numbers are 17, 24, 26, 45, 46, and the Powerball is 19.
And tomorrow morning we're going to wake up to around 60 degrees. We'll warm up into the lower 70s with increasing clouds and a better chance of rain as you get later in the day. Poor Lance is going to get rained on at Lambeau.
You can go on the field. Just hold my umbrella for me, Brian.
I would love to.
He would.
I would
yeah, but then he'd get thrown out, Carol, and we'd all be embarrassed.
Thanks for joining us on Live at 10.
We'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everyone.
The Packers